What did I do on my stream? What do I do on my stream? Guys, what do I do on my stream? We do tech stuff. We do music stuff. We yap with friends. Yeah. I'm a musician and an engineer. And when Slay the Spire 2 comes out, we're gonna be playing Slay the Spire 2. Yeah, I don't know. We go bald. Friendslab games, kill me. Podcaster, kill me. Why are you guys doing emotional damage? Oh man. But yeah, no. That's what happened with the dog. Is it's just there, slightly broken, and I don't think we're probably gonna fix it anytime soon. Maybe someday for posterity, but at least not right now. We've got other projects, and I really appreciate that he let me step back from it when I was unable to think straight. If y'all were in the Discord for that, you know that I was kind of unraveling mentally. Like, I was like, I need to focus at work. Like, I'm scared that I'm not doing enough at work, but like, I need to get this project done, and there's like a timeline on it, and this is like such a crazy tight timeline, and I don't have time to test everything. It was really, really, really rough. And I wasn't feeling very good. And there was so much pressure. I haven't talked about this much, but Fault, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the tier 3. Holy. So, when I was rated, right? How do I explain this? For a long time, right? When you're an engineer, and I don't know if everyone has had this experience, I feel like there is a lot of pressure to be smart. Right? Like looking stupid is very scary, especially when you're a young engineer. And when you're a young engineer, right? When you're early in your career, you don't know much, right? You know what you learned in school. You learned, you know, stuff from side projects and hobby projects. But you don't know, you don't have like career experience. And there's so much competition, and there's so much pressure. And engineering salaries are high, even though we don't have a ton of education, which is not like other fields. And that's justified by saying like, oh, we're really smart and other people can't do what we do. But I think we all know on some level that that's false, right? We all know on some level that that's not true. And it's not just imposter syndrome. People say like, oh, Ellie has imposter syndrome, but it's not true. I don't feel like an imposter. I feel like I'm getting the standard experience of a person early in their career in engineering, which is I don't know a lot about what I'm doing, right? I think it's normal, yeah, reality syndrome, to know that you don't know a lot. But, you know, when you sort of straddle real space and fake space, right? I am this robot. I'm this, you know, engineering robot, right? And I sing and I play music. And I'm a character. I'm an anime character. But I'm also, you know, a real woman, right? And these characters are pretty close together, right? We have a lot of the same experiences. We're basically the same person. But there are things like, right, like as a character, my ability to be an engineer is limited by my ability to be an engineer as a real person, right? So my dad would say this thing in D&D, which is you can play a character stronger than you are, but you can't play a character smarter than you are. And that's true, right? And I never set out to play a smart character. It's not what I set out to do. For a long time, I was dumb little robot. We didn't really do any engineering content on stream, and I didn't really talk about being an engineer, right? I talked about, I don't know, dumb stuff. What did I talk about? Beans? Right? I kind of liked that this was a place where I didn't have to be smart, right? I felt so much pressure all the time at work. I felt like I never knew what I was doing. Like I was always out of breath, catching up, you know, figuring out what was going on. And, I liked that I didn't have to do that here. I liked that this was a place where I never had to worry, do people like me because I'm smart? And then all of a sudden, right? It was sort of offhanded that I mentioned it during the raid, right? I was kind of stream of consciousness during the raid. Like anything anyone said to me, I was just like, yeah, okay, right? And robot dogs were mentioned, and my chat was moving so fast. I'd never seen it go that fast. I didn't even know how to read it that fast when it was going like that. And, you know, someone mentioned robot dogs, and I was like, oh, I know something about that, right? And suddenly, my personality to this whole new group of people, a group of people so much larger than my old community ever was, my whole personality to them was, she's smart. That's her selling point, is she's a smart girl. And I felt so much pressure to be smart. I felt so afraid. And there were people trying to figure out on the internet whether I was actually that smart, right? And I never claimed I was. It was terrifying. Can I sing happy birthday to your friend Shiro? Of course, let me get my banjo. Yeah, but no, like, I was so scared, right? And I was so scared that now people only liked me because I was smart, and if I looked stupid, then not only would I look like I'd been, not only would I have no value, I would also look like I'd been lying, but I never said I was smart. Nightwing, thank you so much for 5 gifted. And it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And for the first time in my life, I really did have imposter syndrome, right? Like, I felt like I was a fake in every way, because people would come in and be like, my super genius robot waifu. And I was like, I'm not a super genius, right? Like, I know as much as a robotics engineer early in her career, because I'm a robotics engineer early in my career, and I can't pretend to know more, and I don't want to pretend to know more. But it manifested in the funniest ways. I suddenly got really scared. I'm really bad at games. I'm not very good at any kind of game, not even puzzle games, not even strategy games. I'm good at chess, but I'm not good at most games. And suddenly I was afraid to play my favorite games that I'd been playing on stream for years. I was scared to play them because I felt like, am I unraveling? No, this is all stuff that happened in the past. This is all stuff that happened a long time ago. It's been well over a year, and I feel like the people who are here now, I don't know, they know what I'm about, they know what I'm capable of. Yeah, my old motto was fake gamer girl, right? Yo, thank you so much! It's Banana Cat! Thank you so much! I'm gonna say thank you. Been in a weird place recently until you found my music. I am so glad that it helped. You've listened together every time. Oh! You listen to that song, you feel like you're not going through everything alone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Yeah, a lot of people met me through the swarm. Most people, I think, met me through the swarm, and then kind of eventually through my own stuff. It was sort of complicated how it happened. So, I've showed the graphs before because I find them interesting. But anyway, I went from being very consistently around 30. I had a few months where I averaged 40, but they were not the norm. I was averaging around 30 for most of the time that I was streaming, and I was very happy there. I didn't have any ambitions of more. It was just a place to play music and be silly online. And then the raid happened, and I suddenly had, like, a character to play, and it mattered that, like, my name was out. I had to, like, worry about people figuring out who I was, and I had to hide things about myself, you know? I had to hide things for safety and security, and I had to be someone else. And part of the way that people wanted to see me, even when I insisted I'm not that smart, people were like, oh, she doesn't know how smart she is. And like, listen, I think the average person is pretty smart, man. I don't know. I have no idea how to estimate that. I don't think that there is a useful way to estimate that. IQ is pretty bogus in the scheme of things, and only losers take IQ tests. So like, yeah, still to some extent people find me that way, but most of my community, right, it's different when someone finds me and they're like, you're that girl who's a robotics engineer, right, and maybe they think, oh, she's a genius, but right, most of chat doesn't, because most of my chat knows me. At that time, it was like everyone who knew me, it was like 30 people, right? It was like 30 people, and they were totally outnumbered by now thousands of people who expected me to... You randomly listened to Magnificent and got curious about who made it. I didn't make Magnificent. I just sang on it. That was the work of Kinaru, who's amazing. And you should check out their work. But they just asked me to do vocals on that song. I didn't write it, and I didn't do anything on it except sing. But yeah, check out Kinaru. Amazing musician, producer, songwriter. But yeah, no. So I'm not a super genius. I don't know anyone who is. I don't think I've ever known anyone who was. And I have my own pain around this. Yeah, you guys want to know a secret? I went to school. I shouldn't say that. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. We won't say that. We won't say that. But yeah, this is the thing. It got really hard to draw that line between me and my character, to be safe, but to still be open and honest, and to navigate the fact that suddenly people expected genius of me, and I felt so guilty for not delivering it. Right? Zeratron, thank you so much! Thank you so much! Have I listened to any Hades 2 songs? I actually haven't. I haven't played Hades 2, still. Anonymous Gifter, whoever you are, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But yeah, no, I think a lot of people in fields where you're supposed to be smart have a lot of pain and fear around not being smart enough. I don't think anyone is, right? And I certainly am not. Anonymous Gifter, thank you so much for the sub. And Urvathia, thank you so much for 5 gifted. Right? And I care broadly about whether I'm a good enough engineer, but I'm a lot less insecure than I was when I was just entering the field because, you know, now I have a bunch of experience in the field. And whether or not I'm ever a good enough engineer for the internet, whether or not the internet is ever like, oh, she's smart enough for me, I know that I'm smart enough to have the career I have. I do a pretty good job at it. I've rarely wanted for a job, and I've been pretty comfortable in that. And that may change. The field is certainly changing. But I'm not, you know, I'm not so anxious about being good enough to be an engineer. But I was really anxious about being good enough for all of you. I was really scared. And I was really, really, really scared. Like I stopped playing some of my favorite games because, you know, there would be analysis afterwards that's like, Ellie says she's smart, but she doesn't seem that smart, right? I was so scared. I was so scared to do all the things that I liked. And I'm really glad that I'm not anymore. So, yeah, that's what happened with the robot dog. And I was much more relaxed after the project. I was much more relaxed in general when I realized that people weren't really sticking around because they thought I was a super genius, despite my frequent, you know, arguing that I was not a super genius. And I feel a lot happier streaming. There was a while when I felt like I'd have to stop at some point. I felt like I was about to hit a wall. I felt so scared. All the time. I felt like I couldn't do any of the things that I enjoyed on stream anymore. I felt like eventually people would realize that I wasn't that smart and then everyone would leave. And if I wanted to stop before that happened, then I had to set a date that I had to stop streaming. And I'm so glad that I didn't have to do that. And that was never what anyone who, I don't know, stuck around, anyone who mattered, I guess, thought. Any VR streams planned? I really want to, but I don't really have space to do VR here. You want to watch me play games badly? Maybe I will now. Maybe I will now that I'm comfortable. But I was really scared for a long time. We love our dumb, smart little robot here. What's my chill games? I really like Slay the Spire. I really like GeoGuessr. I really like, what else do I like to play? I like Civ. Civ 6 mostly. Civ 7 is getting a new update soon. Good, because I didn't like it. Civ 6 with the bugs, maybe. Darkest Dungeon. I love Darkest Dungeon. But yeah, for me, I don't really play a lot of games. You know how I said, like, you should put your motivation where you're motivated to put it, right? Don't try and force yourself to do anything. So strategy games? I don't know. The way that my best friend put it, Joe, I don't know if you guys remember him. He's been on a few times. The way my best friend put it was like, Ellie loves to play a game with a massive wiki that she'll never read. And that is true. I love a game that I can just play for 100,000 years and still be picking new stuff up every time I play it. Where, like, I'm sure that you could sit down and study it, but I don't really. I like, Don't Starve Together is one of my favorite games as well. I like to play a game where you should do a lot of reading ahead of time and while you're playing, but I never do. Right? That's what I like, man. That's my favorite way to play a game. And I'm often not really motivated to play games very often. Like, I don't really enjoy them that much. I'm gonna be real. Like, most games, they're just kind of stressful. I like Factorio all right, although at a certain point it does just kind of feel like doing, like, circuit board design. But yeah, no, I don't like playing most games most of the time. It's just not my favorite thing. Have I played Satisfactory? I have not. But there are a lot of games out there that I think I would enjoy. But yeah, I'm pretty bad at them. That's the thing, is like I was scared to play Civ because I'm bad at it. I was scared to do anything, any of the things that I wanted to play, because I was afraid of all of the scrutiny. And it's a hard thing to communicate to people. You know, I think that people have this idea that like, oh, if you stream on Twitch, you want to be a big streamer. And I really didn't. And it took me a long time to come to terms with it. I didn't ever want to be a big streamer. I felt really good at 30. That was where I wanted to be. I didn't want more than that. I didn't want fewer than that. And while I really like where I am now, and I've gotten used to it, and I'm comfortable with it, this was not my ambition, and it wasn't what I wanted. And so people say like, oh, well, it comes along with the territory. Like, if you didn't want to be scrutinized, you shouldn't have been streaming. And it's like, but I loved streaming. And also, I didn't want to stop streaming because there was a way that it kept me safe. How do I explain this? I tend to fall apart without a routine in my life. And streaming was a big part of my routine. I talk about, like, you know, finding my way to eating more regularly and, you know, getting to a healthy weight. Well, I'm still technically underweight, but, you know, I think that this is a healthy weight for my build. I don't look unhealthy. And I did before, right? Getting there and building a life that worked for me, part of it was I loved streaming, right? I loved doing it every week. I loved having that in my schedule, and I was really, really scared. I was really afraid that if I stopped streaming, my life would kind of fall apart again, and I would just stop coming home from work, and I would just live there, and I would have no reason to ever come home, and I would lose touch with my friends, and I would stop eating again. And so, my arms are thin. Yeah, they're thin, but they're not, like, dangerous, right? So, it doesn't bother me anymore, but initially, after the raid, I was like, I want to stop streaming. I don't want to stream to this many people. I'm so scared. I don't want the scrutiny of this many people. I don't want to perform for them. I don't want to have to prove anything to them. I don't know who they are. They don't know who I am. I don't want to have to be smart for them. But then, I was also scared to stop. And so I kept going. And eventually, I mean, now it feels normal. Now it feels natural. I'm not scared of it anymore. And importantly, streaming to 1,500 strangers is very different from streaming to 1,500 people who know your content, who know who you are, right? No, you aren't part of the problem. No one worry about that, right? So yeah, now I have people who know what I make, who know what I'm good for and what I'm not so good for. And so I feel a lot less nervous about it. But at the time, I wanted to stop. So, yeah. Restart with a new account? I considered it, but I didn't want to stream to no one again, right? I wanted my community, but just my community of 30 people, right? I didn't want to stream to 0 people. I didn't want to stream to, 300 people. I just wanted to stream to 30 people. 30 people who knew me. But it turns out, I really like streaming to all of you. It's just different now that you guys know me. I felt really scared when I had to turn myself into a marketable plushie. And I was pretty embarrassing and cringe in the wake of it. It felt so weird. I can't really explain it. You do things that are completely not like you. You feel so embarrassed. I cried to Discord calls in my server. It was pretty... I haven't done that since, and that's a good thing. Wow! Vilser, thank you so much! And Kaz, thank you so much for 5 gifted! So, the upshot is, I really like doing what I do now. And I like meeting new people this way because they join the community, they learn what to expect from me, from clips for the most part, they come in already knowing some information about me, and my brand is no longer like, oh, this is that smart girl, that smart engineer who's building a dog for Vedal, right? I'm no longer that. And I'm really, really grateful. I'm really grateful that I don't have to do that. So yeah. The clips are not nearly the same as most of the streams. I mean, that's true for everybody, but people go in knowing that, right? The bell tolls, thank you, hi. I am doing well today. But yeah, so that's the shape of it, really, is, I didn't want fame, I didn't want scrutiny, I was really scared to do things that would get me more scrutiny, I was really scared to play games that I liked, I was scared to do anything, I was so afraid of showing everyone how stupid I was. But, you know, I never tried to capitalize off of being smart. I was just scared to be stupid in front of everybody. And now I'm not. Now I get to be stupid all I want. And I'm really, really, really glad. So, yeah, it's good to know you guys. It's good to be able to share my music. It means the absolute world that I get to be part of this community. Thank you for it. I love this community. And I think I would have wanted to be part of it even if I weren't the streamer. So... yeah. I'm glad that we all have more realistic expectations of each other now. Yes, Liching! Thank you so much for 10 gifted! Thank you so much! But I hope it also means something. I cannot thank you enough. It does mean a lot. And it does allow me to invest in things for stream, which is kind of fun. But also, I want you guys to know, I don't do it for the money and I don't do it for the fame. You never have to give me money. You never have to. I want to be really, really clear about that. You simply don't have to. My motivation here is to hang out with people, to have something lovely to do with my time, and to be connected with people this way. So, you know, if you are here listening to my music lurking, if you are, you know, Delta, either way, right? Whether you give things or whether you don't have to, because the most important thing to me was always just being here with you guys. So thank you. Thank you for being here with me. I'm lucky to know all of you. I'm glad that I got through that period of streaming where it was difficult. I'm glad that I had really good friends around me. Like, oh my gosh, like the amount that Cerber helped me, I cannot tell you. The amount that she told me, like, they'll get to know you, right? Like, you... Because I felt like she, immediately, from the get-go, everyone loved her for what made her special, right? I felt like the way that the Swarm fell in love with Cerber was so much truer to who Cerber is than the way that the Swarm liked me, you know? And maybe that's silly. I think in truth, probably, you know, the Swarm liked me in a similar way, right? They liked us because we were silly and, you know, and fun to hang out with. But at the time, it felt like I was only worth something for what I could deliver, and I was only worth something if I could be super, super smart, which I'm not. No one is, right? But especially I'm not. And she told me, like, they'll get to know you, and it meant the world. I am so glad that I had the friends that I had, to guide me through and to be so nice to me. And I'm glad that I got to where I am. And you are all the best. Thank you for sticking with me. Anyway. Yeah. All I ever wanted is to play! Wait, what is this? What is this song? Because this is exactly how I feel. All I ever wanted is to play! That's true. All I ever wanted is to play. I get to. So thank you. Like, I'm gonna be playing live at a con. It's gonna be the most people I've ever played in front of. And I can't believe I get to do that. I can't believe I get to have that moment with everybody. Music is magic. And I love that I get to do it now in a way that isn't scary and doesn't hurt. Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm not a genius. I'm certainly not one of the best engineers on Twitch. I'm not super experienced at everything I try my hand at. And if I do have something unusual about me that I think is impressive and that I really like, it's that I'm not scared to do something I'm kind of bad at. And I think that if you're scared to do something you're kind of bad at, maybe I can make you less scared. Maybe you can do something you're a little bad at because you saw someone do that on the internet and the world didn't end. And so maybe I don't have to be afraid. of people scrutinizing my failures, because maybe my superpower is that I fail publicly and loudly all the time. And if you want to hear all of my unprocessed vocals, you know, you can hear them on any request stream, but you can also hear them in my Discord. I like to post works in progress. I like to post my untuned vocals. And I like to tell everybody that, it's okay to be bad at stuff. Because that's how you get good at stuff. So, thank you, everybody. I feel like I have better feelings about myself and about everybody. And I feel like everybody has more realistic understandings of me. So thanks for getting to know me, and it's been a joy to get to know all of you. And I'm glad that I get to stream as much as I want. And I don't have to worry about having to stop streaming when everyone suddenly realizes that I'm not a genius, even though I never said I was. I'm a pretty average engineer. And engineers are not as smart as everyone thinks they are. Not everyone, but a lot of people.